God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege, and this is the Protege Program. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you enjoy this video. And when we get to the end, I hope you'll leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Here we go. So, the heat has been turning up on Judge Moore. Another accuser has come out, as is detailed in this article from Politico. I read an analysis of the current situation from the Louder with Crowder website. I listened to Ben Shapiro's, I think it's his most recent podcast, talking about the subject. It's not looking good for Judge Moore, and it's frustrating to me when these kinds of things happen. You know, I want to see the Republican Party excel, because I think that the Republican Party is best representative of not only my views, but of views that I think are good for this country, politics that are good for this country, that are good for liberty, freedom, founding principles, etc. So when a person running for office under the Republican banner not only comes under fire for allegations of sexual misconduct, but then it begins to unfold that it begins to become more and more likely that that person did actually do those things that are improper. It's frustrating. Because it looks bad on the party, it looks bad and that reflects badly on the principles that are supposed to be guiding said party. So, the most recent person to come forward is apparently the most damning of the accusers. This person said that she was sexually assaulted when she was 16. Moore apparently locked her in a car with him during this incident. Moore is still continuing to categorically deny all of the charges, and it's the opinion of many from both sides of the aisle that Moore should not be running for office, that he should not obtain office. And that is, well, it appears that I do not have my notes. And that's part of what I wanted to talk about today. I want to talk about all three of these headlines that I have lined out before moving on. So, this from AL.com. Gadsden locals say Moore's predatory behavior at mall restaurants not a secret. Now, the mall thing is apparently Judge Moore was allegedly banned from a mall in Gadsden, Alabama. Allegedly, he flirted with, possibly preyed on many teenagers at this mall. Although allegedly security was aware of Moore's behavior, and had their staff on the lookout for him, and anytime that he showed up, he was supposed to be reported to the supervising security officers. He was to be removed from the mall. As I said, apparently he was banned from this mall. And Jeff Sessions, on the stand when talking about other things, told Congress that he has no reason to doubt the women who have accused Moore of sexual misconduct. Now, and I really wish that I had my notes, because I had a whole bunch of things that I wanted to talk about, and I had them all written out, and now I'm probably going to leave some things out. So let me start off by saying this. The actions that Judge Moore is alleged to have perpetrated against these women when they were young girls are absolutely reprehensible. I fully denounce those behaviors. I don't condone those behaviors whatsoever. whether or not a vote for Judge Moore is condoning that behavior is a different question, different debate. I think it's considerable that we could look at the election of President Trump in light of the statements that he made in the Access Hollywood tape, in light of the allegations that were brought to bear against him in October of last year, right before the election. Many people believed that a vote for Donald Trump was not necessarily an endorsement of those activities. I personally feel the same way. I cast my vote for Donald Trump in light of the Access Hollywood tape, in light of the allegations that had been made against him. And I personally didn't feel like my vote was an endorsement of those behaviors, but was more of an endorsement of the policies that the president was advocating for. In light of that, also, I think it bears saying that many of the allegations made against President Trump, at the time, candidate Trump, were not as credible as the allegations that are being made against Judge Moore at this time. There are also different allegations. The allegations being made against President Trump were of a nature where an adult was making sexual advances towards another adult. Allegations, again, not all of them credible or verified. The allegations being made against Moore are different in nature and are different because they're an adult towards a child, an adolescent. And this, of course, gets us involved on a more emotional level. When you hear about a person hurting children, humans just naturally get involved on a more emotional level. We're very protective of our children. And in the conspiracy world, perhaps this is another layer of the conspiracy, that we're calling up these allegations, making them more evil by making them against children than against adults, because the American Republican voters have demonstrated that they don't respond in the same way to allegations of sexual misconduct toward adults that they used to. And so the conspiracy would be that the left is turning up the heat with the accusations by making them pedophilic, because we still do respond in the same way to accusations of pedophilia that we used to respond to allegations of general sexual misconduct. That being said, the allegations being made against Moore are looking more and more credible as things go on. As the story continues to unfold, it just looks worse for Judge Moore. That being said, I think that there's a disconnect when it comes to believing the allegations from women. It might seem a little jarring to switch topics like this, but hear me out. When Hillary Clinton says that people that brings forward sexual allegations and accusations deserve to be believed, it's very clear that she and feminists like her mean when we are believing these women, where we should then go and prosecute the men that they're accusing, that they should be punished, and they should be punished with real-world punishments with lasting implications. Whenever conservatives and myself, I personally think that when a woman comes forward with a sexual allegation, she deserves to be believed, but that belief should lead not to a punishment being doled out immediately against the accused. It should lead immediately to an investigation. If a woman says, this person has sexually assaulted me, then she deserves to have that allegation investigated. I don't think she deserves for her alleged assailant to be punished immediately. I think it deserves to be investigated. So certainly these allegations being brought to bear against Judge Moore deserve to be investigated. I think that's what's happening at this moment. And as that investigation continues, it's coming to light that it's looking more and more like these things actually did happen. Now, I think that the question that we need to ask the question, these events that are being talked about are decades old, 40 years old or older in some situations. What punishment does Judge Moore deserve for committing those crimes? And should those punishments be brought to bear before he is tried and sentenced in a legal court for those crimes? In other words, should Judge Moore's life be placed on hold and everything else that he does be placed on hold so that we can prosecute these crimes? Turn the clock back. Let's go back to the days. Let's rewind. If we could go back in time to the 70s when these crimes were allegedly taking place, and persuade these women to come forward and make their accusations at that time, what would have happened? Well, an investigation would have been carried out. If the scenario developed the way that it is developing now, then Judge Moore would probably be placed under arrest, at 32, however old he was when he was performing these crimes, be placed under arrest, and he would be tried for these crimes. In other words, his life would be placed on hold in that moment. If he was convicted, then he probably wouldn't have been allowed to become a judge. He wouldn't be running for Senate at this time. It is extremely unlikely that a person like Judge Moore, had he been convicted for those crimes in the past, it's terribly unlikely that he would have been able to win a Republican primary for a Senate office if he was a convicted, basically child molester. At this time, is it fair then to suspend Moore's campaign so that we can prosecute this, effectively a trial of public opinion against Judge Moore for these crimes that he's alleged to commit? If I'm being totally intellectually honest, I must say that it is consistent to say that yes, we must suspend the life of Judge Moore in order to prosecute these crimes against him. Now, if there are going to be no charges pressed against Judge Moore, then perhaps it is not fair to say that his life must be suspended just because allegations have been made. Simply because allegations have been made, that does not mean that we should place Judge Moore's life in a perpetual state of limbo simply because allegations have been made. I think if these allegations are verifiably true, then the honorable thing to do would be for Judge Moore to step down. I don't think it would be right to force him out of his candidacy or out of the Senate office if the charges are verifiably true and there are not going to be any charges pressed. If the charges are true, or if the accusations are true and charges are going to be pressed, then Judge Moore needs to be arrested and thereby be removed from his candidacy. I think that is totally fair. I don't think it's fair for us to, I don't think it's fair for us to say that he must be removed from candidacy by some technicality if charges are not going to be pressed. I think it would be a statement to Judge Moore's character if the charges are verifiably true and he still does not step down. And I think that that's something that myself as a voter, I would not be able to vote for a person like Judge Moore in that scenario. Voting essentially for an unconvicted criminal to hold public office, I don't think I would vote for a criminal under any other circumstances. So I don't think I would vote for a criminal under these particular circumstances. That's, call me on the carpet if you think I'm being intellectually dishonest about this. All things considered, it is, at this point in time, I certainly don't have all of the facts in the matter. That's why I'm saying if a lot. If the allegations are true, then Judge Moore knows that they are true, or should know that they are true. And he should step down. It would be honorable for him to step down from his candidacy. Then again, we could argue about whether or not he deserves a second chance. If he's been reformed from these philandering days when he was, sexually assaulting these underage women, is it arguable that he deserves the opportunity to present himself as a reformed person? Would it be fair to say that he has presented himself as a reformed person since the time when these allegations were taking place? I don't know everything about Judge Moore, so I can't say to you whether or not this is true. I think that this is a judgment that we all would have to make individually. If these allegations are true and charges are not going to be brought against Judge Moore, I, again, think it would be the honorable thing to do for him to step down, but I don't think that that's something that he ought to be removed as a technicality if charges are not going to be brought. If charges are going to be brought, then he absolutely should be removed from candidacy, as he will be on trial for these things. His life needs to be placed on hold, as it would be if we could turn back the clock and have this conversation back in the 70s. If the allegations are not true, and we're saying that he should step down just because of the way that things are playing out as they are, and the possibility of the allegations being true, I absolutely don't think that that's the right way that this situation needs to be handled. Again, if the allegations are true, it is the honorable thing to do for him to step down. It is the right thing to do for him to step down. I don't think that he needs to be removed from that candidacy per se. I think a person that I think is an absolutely bad person has every right to run for office as a person who's just being accused of being a bad person. Hillary Clinton, I believe, is a bad person, but I think, charges have not been brought against her. She's not been convicted of any of these crimes, so she still has the right to run for higher office. In the same way, I think Judge Moore ought to have the right to run for higher office if he's not going to be accused in a court of law and convicted of the crimes that he's being accused of now. It might be the honorable thing to do, but I don't think it's necessarily must be done, must be carried out by the Republican Party of Alabama. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. That's going to do it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed. Agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like for this video if you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, maybe also subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss a single video. I'm uploading every weekday. Speaking of uploads, the Thanksgiving holiday is coming up. I'm still thinking about what I want to do. My options are either record and upload videos while I'm away on holiday, or record and schedule videos to be uploaded ahead of time. If you'd like to let me know which of those you prefer, let me know in the comments. Until next time, good night and God bless.